So the male loneliness epidemic,
Oh fuck.
how can it be solved is a question that is being posed and asked. And even the question, so much so, is it loneliness or is it something completely different, right? So I'm going to play this video really quickly. It's a quick video. And this is what she was saying.
I've been saying, the one side can say it's the male loneliness crisis, but for women, it feels like the undateable men crisis, right? That they're going on dates with men who, yeah, don't have, sort of that emotional, capacity. And by the way, those studies around, the vulnerability really of boys, right? That yeah, if a boy and a girl grow up in poverty, obviously no one wants to see any child grow up in poverty, but boys are more vulnerable and need more support. What I would love to see is, us recognizing the skills that women have, right? Teaching boys to look up to girls when it comes to the
The fuck?
emotional, capacities that they have and the maturity that they have, right? That can be a model for them instead of, again, this, gender war.
So she is saying, sponsored by Kotex.
And it's
Um,
sponsored by tampons. Go
she's
feminism.
she's saying that the cure or the solution is possibly teaching these guys to look up to women so that they can have more emotional stability, so on and so forth. So, do you agree with her? And if not, how do you solve for the male loneliness epidemic as being identified by a lot of these women that's happening out here in these streets, or how she described it, the undateable men epidemic?
I don't think she's all that far off. And the reason I say that is this. If the men aren't dating the women, that means the women aren't dating either, but there's no woman loneliness epidemic. But that's because women have their friends, they have community, they have
Or
all these
gay.
okay. They have all these people that they count as their community. And I think when, for men, everything you do is gay. You can't have, a friend that you vent to or whatever because it's gay. All these kind of things. So I'm not saying that, they should look up to women, but I think that if they had more valuable relationships, whether that be outside of women date that they date or whatever, I don't think that they would be as lonely.
Say the last part again, Kim.
I said I don't think they would be as lonely if they could look outside of women that they were just dating, if they had more community to back them.
Men specifically.
Men specifically. I mean, that's why I think the self-elimination rate is higher for men because they don't have these outlets for their emotions. Like a man can only really have anger accepted as an emotion or maybe even happiness, but there's no other emotion that's allowed to exist for a man without it being gay.
I don't know if that is what it is. I think that we've condemned masculinity altogether.
Yeah, I got feminist fatigue.
Because I mean, everything is called toxic masculinity when a guy is being a guy, right?
I don't.
Even if we say, like, I'll give you an example, right? It's so funny because if I say something with regard to, oh man, a woman looks good, or oh man, she is fine or whatever, the first thing that I hear from homosexuals is, aren't you married? And it's like, I didn't know that was a prerequisite for being able to identify whether or not a woman is fine or not. Like masculinity used to be, boys will be boys. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? And so it's interesting to me. I think that a lot of guys are either dealing with things that they don't want to deal with the woman that what came with feminism, and then B, I believe that there is a concerted effort to feminize men in so many different ways, including having us think about how we look at life from a woman's perspective, right? Like on her clip, I don't want to think like a woman. I just want to be me. You know what I'm saying? And I've always thought that it was cool that guys was guys, and even the old programs that we used to watch, like even the sitcoms that we used to watch, like Men were men, and they drove big cars and night rider, and they ran from the fucking police. And I mean, I'm not saying that everything is good, but it used to be boys will be boys, and we didn't have to take into consideration that they had to insert a gay character in every fucking sitcom, and you know what I'm saying? And everything is, you know, are you emotionally stable, and do you want a partner? Like, no, I want a woman that I can fuck on. But that is now considered bad. If I say that I want a woman that I can fuck on, it's like, oh, you're a bad guy, or you're not a Christian anymore, you're outcast. But then they let all of the let me catch myself. Then they let all of the feminine, that's what I meant to say, the feminine men sing in the choir. The choir used to, you know what I'm saying? The feminine men now sing in the choir. How about that? So, you know, I don't know. I think it's a concerted effort to make men women and women men.
I was gonna send y'all a text yesterday, but I was like, let me not put it in the atmosphere, and I just called my husband to vent because between going to like 2 different grocery stores, I just had too many indirect encounters with what I consider to be gay men, gay black men. And I just told my husband, I was just like, I'm so exhausted. Like, I'm so tired of seeing more of them than what I think appears to be a heterosexual man,
Can I ask you a
specifically
question?
a black. Yes.
Were they gay black men or just feminine black men? How do you know they were gay?
That's why I said what I perceive. So I'll okay, let me give you an example of the two that stood out the most. One guy, shiny bald head, like almost like put on oil on it. But y'all might do that. I haven't seen Anton's head look all shiny, but it might be a thing. I don't know.
No, I just use
out,
lotion. I use regular lotion.
Pink, not pink
Gets out of his white Maxima, whatever, butterfly eyelashes,
Dear Lord.
nails that like come to here with gems all over him, on his
A
phone,
nigga?
like if we want to call him
Sosie
that,
Santana.
his road dog. He was smaller, so he wasn't overweight. He was not overweight, and tank top, fitted jeans, like
What's wrong with fitted
like,
jeans?
Yeah, you know he likes his stretch jeans. Do not offend him.
Quentin,
Did
We've had
you
this
not
talk.
hear the tank top part?
I promise you would not wear, and it wasn't a wife beater.
I'm
It
wearing
was a
fitted
tank top.
jeans.
Tank
I
top.
promise you. I
I
promise
wear
you
tank
would
tops,
not have
nigga.
worn.
Yeah.
You would not have worn this outfit, Quentin. I promise you. And then I was in Wegmans, and this father, he was there, black family. He was there with his daughter, who, you know, had her braids, all the whatever. Okay, so she's there, and then there's the son, who looks like he's probably in his mid-20s. We're in the produce section, and so his dad was like, "Go get one of those onions," and he was like, See, oh no. First they started in the olive section. And he was like, why are we in the olive section, Dad? And then they went over to the onions. He was like, the onions are what he say? The onions are better in Texas. These onions out here, these are horrible. Da da da. Like, fine, let me go get a red onion. And his dad was like, well, then, you know, it's okay. Just go pick out the one that you like. I wanted to be like, go back to Texas then. So it's to me, it was just frustrating because I'm seeing that more and more often in my regular day to day. At first, it used to be I will only see kind of transy people at Starbucks. Like, it was just like that for a little while. But then it just branched off, and more men. It's more men and more black men. So that's the first thing. But I think on top of that, there's just role confusion. We can't hear you, Anton.
I said I think you might be a little off though.
I
think it's just as many women as there are men, I think that it's more visible with the men now, if that makes more sense.
No, you
It's
are
something that you
I'm
don't
sorry, go ahead.
necessarily notice with the women, but I think that the women is doing the same thing, but the men tend to show more sassiness. The women a lot of times don't have to necessarily be butch, right? They
Facts.
could just be gay.
Fucking girly girls eating
No,
box.
I 100%. I actually I agree with you on that too, because
Well, the thing is, because it's unnatural.
I am definitely seeing more butch. I'm just seeing more confusion. I'm seeing more
I'll say this.
confusion.
I'll say
and I'm
this. When I'm out with a person, it doesn't matter if it's a girl. If it's Rita, it could be another girl, whatever. Let's say I'm hanging out with my homegirl. It don't matter what the girl is, right? But when I go out with the girl, and if I walk away, and this is a consistent thing, it don't matter where I'm at, whether I'm at a restaurant, at the bar, if I'm at a casino, it don't matter where I'm at. Most of the time when I'm out with a girl, and she'll be she put together, she'd be dressed up or whatever, pretty. It's not uncommon, it's not unnatural for me to come back and for her to say, that girl tried to talk to me, or that girl tried to hit on me, or this girl tried to approach me and she tried to holler at me. Women are shooting a shot at other women without it even being subtle.
I agree
It's
with you. I just saw one of my homeboys. He did he does like these types of panels or whatever, and he had one of these. He had a girl on the panel talking with the guys. Like all of them were talking about getting girls.
Wait, what?
So it would be like if we were all up here talking. Well, okay, it would be like if me, you, and Quentin were talking about our experiences with getting chicks. And there
okay. So
like
everybody was talking about the same thing. I got you.
Yeah, and it's just it's just so there. It's everywhere. And I think on top of that, it's starting to cause confusion for roles, even of heterosexual people. Like I put up a meme in my stories a couple of weeks ago. It was something that said like when you're watching a Netflix series and it's real good, and then they have a scene with two men that kiss. Like it just throws you just like, why you gotta throw this in here? What there was no need, right? So I put that in my story, and I don't comment on my stories. I just post stuff. So a male friend of mine, he hit me up and was like, isn't that a little homophobic? Now this is a straight married man. He's not, but why
is he?
I wouldn't bet my life, but I would bet my life. Like he's not. He's
is
not.
He?
Nah. Yeah, he's straight. He's 100%
How do you know?
straight.
100%.
Well, I don't know 100%, but I mean from in all the possible ways that I could know as his friend, I know.
Is he liberal?
Listen, nobody.
He is.
This is my thing.
I would say that he is liberal. Yeah, he's like liberal a little.
Oh, that's a little sassy then.
Because I hear a lot of
he's
the
not sassy. He's not sassy.
Wait, how well do we know you, Carrie? How long has he known you personally?
We've known each other since college, since I was like a freshman in college.
Oh, that's why he just wanted to challenge you. That's all.
No.
And he is that type of friend who does, challenge.
He wanted to challenge you. He wanted to challenge you.
When I responded, I was like, call it what you want. I don't need to see it. Like it don't need to be in there.
Women miss the signs and they're all over. And I can't believe how easily y'all just miss the signs.
Let's ask the gay whisperer.
Y'all miss it every single day.
You heard this whole conversation.
Okay.
My opinion. If you defending it, you might be a little gay.
No, I got
what
FAG
you care
fatigue.
for.
FAG fatigue.
What you care for? Like, why are you sticking up for? I think that men need to start kind of separating themselves from each other.
The guy, Sonny. She's saying, I about whether it's homophobic or not, unless he has a sentiment of it.
He might just wanted to challenge Carrie. That
But
just
that's
might be
why
who he
I asked.
is.
Of
That's
all
why
of
I
the
asked.
things that you can challenge somebody on, that's what you challenge them on.
That's why I asked if he's liberal, because liberal men tend to, well, they try to be politically correct when they're not.
Nope. My
No,
Debaters.
no, no,
all
no,
of my
no.
brothers voted. Not all of my brothers. Some of my brothers are some of the realest ever, and they voted for Kamala Harris because that's what black people do. Most of them, they do not support the agenda at all. Which is one of the one of the conversations that we have. Be like, man, bro, don't y'all understand that this is what they pushing? They be like, yeah, I know, bro, and I ain't for that, but I just that's what I just don't like Trump or whatever, some other dumb shit that they'll say or whatever, right? Of course, we already know what the narratives are, but they will never defend that. They will never come out and be like, a little homophobic, aren't we? Like, they would never ever do that ever in life. They would never, under no circumstance, would they ever say, a little homophobic, don't you think? I don't even know. I'm just
So
going.
is Mark Lamont here?
I don't know men who use the word homophobic. The word itself is a feminine word, because I'm not scared of
It's
anything.
it's a word made up by a damn whatever he was, a professor, whatever he was. He was doing like not a survey, but he was doing a study on homosexual men, and he came up with this word because he felt like so many people were being standoffish towards homosexuals. It's a made up word. It never really existed before a certain
Phobia is real. They're
Word.
no
saying that you're scared of
no
the gay
no
people. No, I'm
no
saying a phobia is real.
no, but homophobia doesn't make sense because ultimately, and I'm gonna just keep saying it, the word is made up and it's made up improperly, because before you get to homosexuals, you have Homo sapiens, which overrides that. That does not make sense. This is made up by somebody who thinks they're smart, who didn't think that shit through. That's just the bottom line. Because he wanted to create a narrative, he was probably homosexual himself. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's
Because how do you have a fear? How well, think about it. How do you go to homophobia and that's not a fear of humans? It's a fear of a specific group that only makes up a very small percentage of actual humans. How do you skip over that
I can
You
see
might
where
have,
you're
if we're
you might
going.
have a
using
point.
logic?
You might
I
have
can
a
see
point
where you're
there.
going with that, but all words are made up. So there's that.
You say what?
But I see
Slimmy
where you're going with
might
that.
have
All words are made up.
No, wait, what would you say, Kim? Say that again.
I said all words are made up. They're just stuff that you assign meaning to. So, but I get what you're saying.
Wait. No, there's a little bit of you kind of wrong there, because we got different languages where certain words have the root word from a different language, right? Like Latin. So we take those words and then they have true meanings to them from what was the root of that language.
she
But it's
no, that is
supposed to
correct. But
mean
I
that
think what
it's
she's
made up.
saying is that that in general, what you hear is your vocal cords vibrating, and then you make a word or a sound, and you assess a meaning to it. That's what she's saying.
And it says
So
in
it's not
Yeah,
like
Latin.
but that doesn't apply to this,
Listen,
because
it
we already
says,
know that there's an overriding word that's being skipped over. You can't dismiss that.
but it says in Latin the word homo means man or human being. So just saying. I
Homo
studied
sapien
So wouldn't that be fear of
is not
man?
Homo sapien is
that.
Homo sapien not an overriding term, right?
Well,
Will Homo sapien be the more appropriate term,
Well,
now I
right?
either way, that would be then fear of man or fear of human, right?
correct.
In which case, it's
Okay,
still wrong.
so it's still wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's a made up thing for a
They
narrative.
took over a whole word, just like they
Yeah.
took the
No, I've
rainbow.
been saying this for years, because how do you get to homophobic, but you use homo, but you're making it specific to a group, but
Because it's
you
coming
don't
from
talk
because
about
it's coming
humans, just
because it's
humans
coming
overall.
from
It's not a fear of just
it's
humans
coming from
overall. That would
homosexual
make way more sense. But
because
because
it's
we have
coming
to
from
have a
homosexual.
narrative, because it's a narrative that was created by somebody who thinks they're
So
smart.
Slimmy is saying that instead of applying it to sapien, they applied it to the sexual part of it. And
Yeah,
then
Yeah,
that
that,
yeah,
why are
'cause
you
it's
diminishing humans
homosexual.
overall?
Oh,
Why are you diminishing humans overall for a specific group for a specific reason if it wasn't a narrative?
so Slimmy is saying they made it applicable to the sexuality part instead of to the sapien part, that ultimately tried to create a narrative that made us start to apply it depending on how it is that we see life. But they trained us in order to see it that way because of the word use and because of the normalization of it.